Welcome to the On Deck podcast for all your baseball DFS needs with your superstar hosts, fantasy baseball experts, Casey, Bubba, and Bogman. On Deck podcast is sponsored by LineStar app, the #1 top-rated data and analytics tool for daily fantasy sports.
And welcome back to another episode of the On Deck MLB DFS podcast, brought to you by the wonderful people at LineStar Sports. Make sure to check them out on Twitter at LineStar app and at LineStar MLB, and download the app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. It gives you everything you need for many sports, not just baseball. If you're playing NBA playoffs, go get that. PGA, go get that. MMA, they have every sport you can think of and all of the slates, not just the main slates, everything, plus the chats, the optimizers, and so much more. So go check it out in your app stores, the LineStar app. You can find myself on Twitter at BDentric and my co-host, as always, on Twitter at Bogman Sports. Scott Bogman, how are we doing, my friend?
Good. I got a long hair, don't care day going on here. So the tying it up was giving me a headache. So went ahead and we're letting it flow today. So got that going on. This was an incredibly weird day. I mean, we had some fireworks in some of the early games. You know, the Angels and Rangers were 9-8. Everything else was kind of a nice pitcher's affair. I mean, Padres and Brewers was 2-1 Padres in 10, 5-2. The Astros over the Dodgers. Got to see a home run off of Bauer, which is nice, but it was Carlos Correa, so it was kind of like
all people. Right. It was like perfect theater. Villain versus villain.
Definitely good theater, yeah. But then I'm sitting there going, ooh, I don't like either one of these guys. Who do I root for here? So then the Rays beat the Royals 2-1. Minor actually looked pretty good, had 9 strikeouts. We had a couple of rain delays. We're waiting to see if those are going to get played at the end of the day or not. Doesn't look like it's going to. And my Diamondbacks are winning. So, it's a very strange day here on a Wednesday.
Giants are rallying, though, so don't count those eggs before they hatch just yet. But yes, Meryl Kelly's looking good for another start. You might be honest. I actually played him today, so for you
getting a lot of soft contact. He's not blowing anybody away, and he's never going to be that guy. But he is inducing a lot of poorly hit ground balls and stuff like that, pop-ups.
Sometimes that's half the battle, so that's a good thing. Right. But we've had so much good weather here of late, and it looked like we'd have good weather today, at least in the early games, like you said. Very little offense there. Then we get 2 rainouts, both New York games. You mentioned the 2 rain delays that look sketch as well. So it's just a 9-game slate turned into a potential 5, probably 6, because the Red Sox is an official game, so that'll still count. But it's kind of bogus on that part. And when we go to the Thursday slate of action, you have 5 games early, 6 games late. The 5 games early, go check out the LineStar app, get in the chat rooms there, look at all the tools. They'll catch you up there. But the Cliff Notes version, you play Shane Bieber. Just throw that out there to you. That's what you're doing on the day slate against the Tigers. There's a couple other cheap options too, so keep an eye on that. But that's your main target there. But we have a 6-game main slate. I'll say it right now. We only have 3 totals, so we're not going to go over totals throughout the show. And Baltimore and Chicago White Sox, 65 to 70% chance of rain.
That looks like a good hitting game too, which sucks.
Yep. So just you never know. Weather can change. We know that.
Play with caution. Right.
Not looking good right now. So it might be a 5-game main slate when we get everything up and cracking. And before we get cracking, if you guys could go to iTunes and give a rate and review on iTunes, we truly would appreciate it. It helps the podcast out quite a bit. Shares the gospel that is the LineStar MLB On Deck show. So go do all that good stuff. And if you like to watch podcasts instead of listen to them on your podcast apps, go to the YouTube channel, the LineStar YouTube channel, subscribe, like, and share, and you can do all the good stuff right there. All right. Do you want to do the early slate also?
I mean, we can run through it real quick. I mean, I didn't make notes and stuff, but I mean, like you said, I don't think this Colorado New York game is even going to be on the slate. It was earlier today, but because they're going to be playing a doubleheader, I think that one's going to get wiped away. It already was on FanDuel before, so I think it's probably just going to be this, Spencer Howard against Lopez in Miami. That one, I think I would just want Lopez, if anything, and not a lot of hitting there either, because not a lot of hot hitters for either side of this. Most of the players in this damn game are on the IL, right?
Exactly. That's the problem. Like Garrett Cooper's not banged up. Brian Anderson's out for like 4 to 6 weeks. everything that was kind of viable with the Marlins is disappearing. So like that might make Howard usable, but he just doesn't go deep into games. He does not do it for me in that regard. So yeah, it's Lopez or bust for me in that game. I'd probably move on to hopefully offense elsewhere.
Yeah, and the next game has some offense. It's the Cubs at the Pirates with Hendricks against Anderson here. And I don't know, Hendricks, they're both affordable. Hendricks is 72 and 85. This is another reversal, 79 and 73 for Anderson. So go with the cheaper options. So on DK, that would be Hendricks. On FanDuel, that would be Anderson. But there's a lot of PVB data here, first of all. Frazier is 12 for 26 against Hendricks. Polanco's 12 for 34 against them. They both have 2 homers. Polanco has 3 doubles. Frazier has 2, 5 swipes for Polanco off of Hendricks as well in those games. And then Wilmer Defoe's 3 for 8 against Hendricks with a triple. On the Pirates side, it's Kevin Newman, 5 for 17 with a double, 7 for 16 for Bryant, hitting 438 with 3 homers off of Anderson, 5 for 13 for Jock Peterson, 4 for 14 for Baez with a bomb. And then there's other hot hitters. Happ has been good recently, a little expensive, but Brian Reynolds, Will Craig, and Ben Gamble have all been hitting for the Buccos. So there are some bats to buy here. Like you said before, you're kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it's kind of Bieber or bust in the early slate.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I think Hendricks will be very popular as an SP2 on DraftKings. So if you want to be contrarian on a small slate, you can go with some Pittsburgh bats like Frazier and Polanco and maybe a couple others. I don't know if I'd go all in, but that could be your contrarian spot because Hendricks has put together 2 good starts in a row, but the one before that got beat up by Pittsburgh again. So maybe there's something to that. And we always like the Cubs versus left-handed pitching. So that could be an angle for you there. San Diego, Milwaukee. Do we get Adrian Hauser? Because if so, San Diego's very, very live in that one. But Milwaukee's bats are so cold, it's hard to want to. Like, I'm not going to use Weathers because he's just not going to go deep enough.
Right.
But it's hard to use Milwaukee.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just hitters in this game probably. And like we mentioned yesterday, for the Brewers, it's Wong and Urias. Those are the only guys that have really been hitting. Cronenworth, Pham, Profar, and Tatis are all decent options in San Diego, but Pham is probably the only really affordable one at 32 and 29. So then you go to the last game of the morning slate, Bub, and it's, like you said, Bieber at Detroit. Boyd is going to be pitching for them. And, Robbie Grossman's been hot, and he has a decent track record, 3 for 8 against Bieber, but you don't want to play anybody against Bieber right now. And no one for Cleveland has been hitting. I mean, Jose Ramirez is pretty good against Boyd, 9 for 35 with a triple and 3 bombs, 3 for 11 for Cesar Hernandez with 2 doubles against him. But after that, I mean, it's Ahmed Rosario's been hitting a little. Harold Ramirez, by your own discretion there, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's a rough one. I think I think the popular build on DraftKings will be Bieber and Hendricks. So I think a good way to do it, if you still want to use Bieber, just go Bieber and Boyd and then take bats from 4 of their games. I think that's an option to go that route, but it's ugly. And we won't be talking about Darren Ruff in the future slates because he just pulled up lame. So now the Giants have no first basemen. That's great. Sorry. Just had to throw that out there. That big boy just pulled a hammy. That's not good.
Yeah, he did too. He was towing the anchor around that corner too.
I don't know what he was trying to get a double on that for. Anyways, that was his own dumb fault. But know who you are, big man. You're not stretching a single into 2. From big man to big man here, you're not doing it. All right. Let's head to the night slate here. We'll give you the more detailed rundown as we like to talk about here. Cincinnati at the Washington Nationals. You got Sonny Gray versus Steven Strasburg. Gray's 97 on DK, 77 on FanDuel. Strasburg's 85 on DK, 10,000 on FanDuel. Gray has been beat up a little bit of late, whereas Strasburg, made his return from the IL through 5 1/3, about 72 pitches. Looked very good his last time out. So you imagine 85-ish, give or take, this time out against a Cincinnati team that's been kind of reeling at the plate. How do you look at this one?
Yeah, I mean, this slate, it might be harder to find pitching in this slate because at least you can pay for Bieber in the morning. Yeah. You know what I mean? So this slate is not very forgiving and it's not great. So look, I just don't trust Strasburg, but he might be one of the top options on the slate today. I think I'd rather have Gray. He has been lasting long, but he has huge K upside. So, maybe he can fire some strikeouts there for you before he exits. But like you said, not a lot of Cincinnati stuff going on. I mean, there's pretty much nobody hot. There's some PVB data. Castellanos is 2 for 6 with a bomb against Strasburg, 3 for 6 for Winker, and he's been hot. But 3 for 6 for Soto with a homer against Gray, 4 for 10 for Trey Turner with a double and a triple against him. And then, Josh Bell, Kyle Schwarber, and Josh Harrison he keeps hitting. He swiped a bag tonight too. Don't know if all that's going to get wiped away or whatever, but he has looked great at the plate recently. So that's what I like in this game. So it's iffy. If you don't use one of these pitchers, then there's a couple hitters to buy, but not a ton here.
And also keep an eye on if for some reason they don't finish the game. It's only like the third inning or top 4 or something like that in Washington as we're recording. And it's like 11:30 their time. So I don't know what they're waiting for, to tell you the truth. It's like either, poop or get off the pot type theory.
Right.
So they might have to start up the game, or there's a lot of scenarios that could take place. So keep an eye on what exactly takes place here. But I think Strasburg on a slate like this, I'm cool with using him as an SP2 potentially just for the strikeout upside. Maybe he can go 5 or 6 and strike out like 7+, like run hot type thing. That's all I'm shooting for here. And I like the Nats bats. I am always a sucker for the Nats bats. I know they've been very inconsistent, but you give me Sotos and Turners and Bells and Schwarbers, and I'm a big fan, especially in Washington.
Did Juan Soto apologize to you for not running the pop out?
No, we're still not on speaking terms right now. I'm waiting for my special message. So
okay.
We're not there yet. Make baseball fun again. Unwritten rules, all that kind of good stuff. Tony La Russa already sent my letter for me. The Baltimore Orioles at the Chicago White Sox. This is the game that's most likely going to get rained out unless weather changes, and hopefully it does. We don't want it to get rained out because it's Zimmerman versus Cease. Zimmerman 6K 6,300, Cease 92.75. White Sox love hitting left-handed pitching, so that's a plus. Cease has been hot and cold on a slate like this. It's interesting, but I love the White Sox bats.
Yeah, it's a dart throw for Cease for sure. Zimmerman's just a hard pass. So, I hope this doesn't get rained out. Hopefully the rain comes through a little bit earlier in the day so we don't have to bother with it, or it's quick rain or whatever. But, there's bats to buy. Mancini, you've mentioned Santander, and Santander's cheaper on DK, 33 to 35, which is surprising. Stevie Wilkerson's been hitting a little bit. He's a nice cheap option, 3,000, 2,000. Abreu Madrigal is leading the league in contact percentage. He's 33 and 24. Yoel Moncada, 5,000 and 3,400. So there are definitely some bats to buy here. So rain, go away.
Yeah, and if for some reason the game does play and you want to get interesting here, DJ Stewart's heating up, and he's cheap.
There you go.
And literally on a small slate, you're looking for home runs. Like I know you're looking for them in every slate, but you're looking for like those random home runs even harder on this. And DJ Stewart's that guy. So I think that's an intriguing way to go about it as well. He's homered twice already this week. St. Louis Cardinals at the Arizona Diamondbacks. Carmart versus Frankoff. I've seen also Peacock. Who knows who's throwing? It's all over the board. I think it's Frankoff, though. That's what it seems like. But either way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't even know. I haven't seen any announcements from the Diamondbacks Twitter or anything. So
it'll probably come out after the game tonight. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens there. But bottom line, I think both sides of the offense are in play on this one.
Yeah. You want bats here, like you said. Tommy Edman went yard twice today. So get him on the slate for Thursday. That would be great. 48 and 26. Edmundo Sosa's been hitting, like we mentioned, 432 and 21. He's been raking recently. Goldie has been good, and he's a homecoming in front of people. 41 and 28. Eduardo Escobar is expensive but worth it. 5,100, 3,000. Did you see him make Cueto go dancing today? Hit a liner right back at him.
Over his tips.
Right, exactly. Rojas had a couple RBI today. He's 38 and 2,500. Peralta got a rip, 43 and 27. Nick Ahmed's been hitting a little bit, 3,000, 2,100. So yeah, I'm with you. There are bats to buy in this game, and I don't want any part of the pitching. Carmart has been not great this year. Good start last time out, but just no strikeouts this year, which is very unlike him.
It's a lot of pitch to contact. And you know what annoys me is John Gant was on the day slate on Wednesday, and the White Sox had the bases loaded in the first. I'm like, it's finally happening. It's the "it's happening" gif. And they let him off the hook, and it was the same stuff as always, pitch to contact, and he just keeps the tightrope. I'm telling you, one of these days he's giving up like 10, and it's going to be freaking glorious. It's going to be so beautiful because people are using him now as a pitcher. So it's coming, and it's going to be one of the lower on stacks. I'm so excited for it because it's going to happen every time out. At least I'm going to build one every time out. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Arizona in this game. And I'm also big because I target Carmart and his pitch to contact, but you have to target this Arizona pitching because regardless of starter, bullpen, whatever, they're all up for grabs, and St. Louis is quietly hitting the baseball. So big fan of that one. This might be like a game stack situation on a slate that's potentially 5 games and kind of a mediocre hit and miss spots. It could be a nice game stack situation for sure. That Sosa value is super nice on both sides. Angels at the A's, 2 of your better pitchers on this slate. Shohei Ohtani taking the bump, 77 on DK, 10-3 on FanDuel. Chris Bassett, 83 on DK, 91 on FanDuel. For me personally, Chris Bassett may be the best pitcher on this slate. So that's very intriguing to me, especially at 8,300. And I'm always a sucker for Ohtani in tournaments, at least as an SP2 on DK, just because we know what the ceiling is. We also know the risk, but I think his ceiling is so huge. He's in play, but I like Bassett a lot tonight.
Yeah, I think, like you said, Bassett is kind of your highest floor guy here. 6 of his last 7 have been quality starts. Love him here against LA. And Ohtani's just been a bit of a landmine as a hitter, or as a pitcher, excuse me. Great as a hitter, obviously, but he's worth the DK price, like you said, 7,700 versus 10-3. That is insane. So, yeah, I'm all about getting Ohtani in DK, especially as a second pitcher. But I might, the 2 pitchers here are probably my 2 favorite that I want to use. There's one other one that I like, but yeah, I mean, I'm with you. There's a little PVB data for LA against Bassett, 7 for 15 for Fletcher, 3 doubles, 4 for 13 for Upton. No extra base hits though, but LA has some hot hitters. I mean, Walsh obviously is expensive, but he's been good. 47 and 39. Juan Lagares, Taylor Ward, Josh Rojas have also been hitting and are all hovering around the 3,000 range, which is pretty good, and then 2,000 range on FanDuel. Canna just keeps hitting as a leadoff hitter for the A's. Seth Brown is back with some power here. Ramon Laureano, I don't understand the price discrepancy here. 6,100 on DK, 3,300 on FanDuel, so buy him on FanDuel for sure. And Tony Kemp is 34 and 21. So lots of bats to like, but I like the pitching better.
Yeah, I like the pitching much better for sure. But I will say, if you want to go with an 8 stack because of the volatility of Shohei Ohtani, maybe his velocity's down again, or he's just off and only goes like 4 innings. Yeah, I have no problem doing it. Like, yeah, you mentioned Kana, Laureano. Olsen went deep again on Wednesday. He's always a good tournament type play. So the A's are kind of interesting. The wind is going to be blowing out a lot, usually more preferable in a day game than a night game in Oakland. But on a short slate, you can kind of look at those little things. And I think an Oakland stack in a tournament can be very intriguing against an Ohtani that most people might not use, but they'll be scared to go against him also. So keep that in mind. 2 more games to talk about here. San Francisco Giants, Los Angeles Dodgers, Alex Wood. For now, it's Uceta, but we've done this twice before. And they ended up changing like 3 different times the next day, like David Price to this, to that.
They have 100 different options.
Yeah, so just keep an eye. It's a bullpen game. It's bullpen.
Yeah.
Game. Just know that. So Wood versus the bullpen. I like Wood a lot, but man, it's the Dodgers. So hard to go against the Dodgers.
But he was his last time out was against the Dodgers, and he got
he's a lot cheaper this time too. A lot cheaper, exactly. 69 on DK.
So so I like him. I think he's probably my 3rd or 4th guy behind the 2 guys we just mentioned, and I like Sonny Gray a little bit. I think you're probably more on the Steven Strasburg side, but yeah, I think Wood is in the mix at least, and whatever for the Dodgers just pass. There's a little PVB data against him, but it's not a lot of ABs. I mean, Gavin Lux has only had 3 plate appearances against him, but he has 2 hits, and one of them was a double. 2 for 6 for Taylor with a double and a homer. 2 for 4 for Betts with a double also, but they're starting to pick it up, the Dodgers here. Max Muncy is a good buy. Will Smith could be a decent buy as well. But Evan Longoria leading the league in hard hit percentage, Bub, is great, and he's still cheap, 37 and 3,000. Drove in 4 on Tuesday against my D-backs. Crawford has been pretty strong. Posey's been good as well, and Steven Duggar's been hitting a little bit too if he's in the lineup. Cheaper on DK than FanDuel too, one of those rare exceptions. So there's some bats to like in this game as well.
With all the Giants injuries right now, Posey usually would get tomorrow off because he's played 2 straight games, but he might have to go play first base. So that's something to keep him, like his belt's hurt. They put Vossler in tonight. He's basically free on both sides. I'm not saying these guys are must plays, but if you want value or you want some like a cheap Giant stack or whatever, Tauchman, Vossler, Dickerson, Duggar, there's so many cheap options. And then you can mix in a Crawford or a Longo or a Posey if you want, however you want to set your stack up. The Giants will be super cheap, and their offense is actually legit. So it's not like it's that big a deal. Bullpen suck because they can mix and match more than just focusing on a starter. but you'll get a couple rounds against some mediocre bullpen guys first. Last but not least, this will be a game that I think a lot of bats will be chosen from. Texas at Seattle, Colby Allard versus Chris Flexen. Stackathon, and it sucks because it's two of the teams that gets no hit. It's like these are teams you target.
The worst
but you just want to
offenses.
feast. You just want to feast on these two pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not playing either pitcher, right? Can't do it. No, thank you. But Kyle Lewis is very affordable, 37.29. He went yard a couple days ago. JP Crawford has been picking it up a little bit. He's 33.23. Ty France got activated. He's 29.2000. Adolis Garcia still, like you said, Bub, the price has not matched what he's doing. 36.38, cheaper on DK.
I don't know what DK's thinking. Like Mark Connor's up to 50. Mark Connor's up to 5,300, and it's like, sure, okay, rightfully so. Why is it Adolis Garcia still starting? Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't understand. And our guy IKF, one of the two guys in the league with double-digit stolen bases, him and Witt, 4,000 and 2,600. So there are some bats, but there's just not a lot of bats, even though this does look like a nice game that could, be a nice 10-9 or something like that.
Yeah. I had to pull up Colby Allard's Fangraphs page while you were talking because I remember he started from time to time last year and he was serviceable. He's been good this year, but it's been out of the bullpen.
Yeah, all out of the bullpen.
His last three outings, inning and a third, inning and two-thirds, inning and two-thirds. You know what that means? One of the worst bullpens in baseball is pitching a lot tonight.
Right.
So Jared Kalinick, Kyle Seager. Yeah. As much as I hate both these offenses, the Texas bullpen might be equally, if not worse, than the Seattle offense. So that's an angle there. And I like Adolis. I'll have Adolis. He should be owned on a potentially 5 to 6 game slate. Adolis Garcia should be 60 to 70% owned. Like there should be no reason why he's not owned. So, but he won't be because it isn't. But he should be chalkier than chalkathon. So it should be crazy. But yeah, it's gonna be a weird slate. Like just talking about it and looking at it, it's lots of ways to go, but weird. Let's recap it real quick. We kind of talked about it. Like Bassett's kind of the guy we like for the good floor, whatever. You're Gray. I'm Strasburg in that matchup. We both think Ohtani's a GPP type play. You kind of sold me on Wood just for his price. Yeah. I'm with you there. So, like, if I had to take a 1-2 punch, if I'm making one tournament lineup, I think I go Bassett and Wood is where I'd sit. If you had to make one tournament lineup on DK, what two pitchers would you use?
I think I'd probably go with Bassett and Ohtani, to be honest with you. Just take the strikeouts.
Ohtani's tough. Yeah, because he'll get a lot of strikeouts. It's just because we've seen the upside. Like 2 starts ago, he just lit the world on fire, and that's why he's a tournament. Like, do not play him in cash. Do not send a question saying you're going to play him in cash. Do not play him in cash. Like, you've heard it here. Don't do it. But what stacks do you like? Because we kind of like Texas, Seattle, but it's also like puke in your mouth like.
Yeah, I think St. Louis and Arizona, either side of that is a good stack. I would love to stack either side of Baltimore and Chicago, but I just don't trust that game to not get rained out. So, after that, it's maybe the Giants against the Dodgers bullpen and either side of Texas and Seattle, maybe that mini Seattle stack that you said before that. But that's, there's no confident stack, I think, today outside of maybe St. Louis.
It's weird that St. Louis stack's the most confident one. It's fair. So it's like I'm with you. St. Louis, Arizona, Texas, Seattle is probably the main ones.
1 on 2 solo Tommy Edmonds shots, right? It's not like they're ripping it. So.
But I think the 2 sneaky stacks, if you're making a few lineups, like if you're making one lineup and you're cool with lighting money on fire, you can use these. If you're making a bunch of lineups, I think the A's, because you just roll the dice on Ohtani, is an interesting stack, and then the Giants. Those will be your 2, but it's mainly that St. Louis and then kind of mix and match. I'm not going to worry about the Cincinnati Washington game. I'm almost just crossing off unless I'm using a pitcher. Like it's one of those we talk about, like the 4 true outcomes. We could see blowouts on either side. I don't even see a blowout overall. Like it just seems like a kind of like 4-3 type game. It just seems blah. But all right, enough mumbling. Go check out LineStar on Twitter at LineStar app, at LineStar MLB. Download the app in the Google App Store and the Apple App Store. And you want to do all this stuff because you want to be able to use this cool stuff when we give you our home run calls of the day. And you want to follow the site so you can get the home run calls of the day, because when you retweet it, you get a chance to win some free swag, because Bogman, Ryan Humphreys, and myself will give a home run call every day. And if you get drawn, 3 lucky people get drawn. If one of us gets the home run, you win some free swag. So Bogman, on Thursday, May 27th, who is your home run call of the day? And it is on the main slate only, everybody.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go homer here. I don't know if I picked Diamondback this year, but give me Eduardo Escobar to go yard today off of Carlos Martinez. That's what I want.
I like that one quite a bit. I should just go Adolis Garcia, but he's hit one like every day, and eventually you just have to take a day off. Like that's just the pros of life. But he'll probably go deep anyways. But what I'm going to take, you hinted at it earlier, we have a homecoming, Bogman. Paul Goldschmidt is going deep in the desert.
Well, I'm glad you did it, because that was my other option. But I was like, do I want that to make myself cry? No, I'll go with the current Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I wrote him down, and I'm like, okay, I'll go Garcia if Boggs takes him, but you didn't take him, so I'm going Goldie. You're going Escobar. We'll see where Humphreys goes. Maybe he goes Garcia, and the world goes around. We'll be good there. But make sure everybody checks that out on Twitter. LineStar app on Twitter. Retweet that. Try to win some free swag. You can check out Bogman on Twitter at Bogman Sports. I'm at BD Entry. We'll have a big Friday slate for you coming up. But enjoy your Thursday, and we'll be back with you guys tomorrow.
Good luck.
Thank you for listening to the LineStar app On Deck podcast. Download LineStar app from the App Store or go to linestarapp.com for all your DFS baseball needs. If you love the On Deck podcast, support KC, Bubba, and Bogman by rating and subscribing. Good luck.